Good morning, everyone. It's Throwback Thursday again, and I'm here again this morning with another discussion about one of our county's prominent historical figures. This morning, we're going to be talking about Mr. Orien L. Roark, Greenville businessman, undertaker, and editor/owner of the Greenville Record newspaper. Orien Roark was born here in Muhlenberg County on November 26, 1868, to Jenny Elizabeth Morgan and James Lewis Roark. James Lewis was the owner and undertaker at J.L. Roark Estate funerary business. When his father died in 1893, Orien took over that family business and expanded and modernized it. He even served as undertaker for General Don Carlos Buell when he died in 1898 at Airdrie. After taking over the funeral home and undertaking business, Mr. Roark built a new building for the Roark Estate business at 115 North Main Street in Greenville, which is still standing today. In addition to the funeral home and undertaking business, he also sold bicycles, furniture, and household goods, including Victrola record players. Mr. Roark again expanded his business in February 1899 when he started the Greenville Record newspaper. Mr. Roark himself served as editor and secretary of the paper, with Owen Rice as president. While the Record wasn't the county's first newspaper, Mr. Roark served as editor there for longer than anyone else had up to that point, almost 40 years, until the paper folded in 1938. The Record is a resource we use fairly frequently in our historical research at Thistle Cottage. Several issues still exist on microfilm and even in a digital format available online. In fact, if you watched last month's video about local historian Otto A. Rothert, you may also remember that Mr. Rothert started his historical publication career with articles that were printed in Mr. Roark's Record. Mr. Roark gave back to the county he was born and raised in as well. In fact, in the 1930s, he donated a tract of land that had been in his family for years to be used for the construction of a new hospital in Greenville. His daughters, Carol and Mary, also donated more land behind the original tract in about 1950 to expand the facility. That same hospital, now known as Owensboro Health Muhlenberg Community Hospital, is the same one still in use today on Hopkinsville Street, still on the same lands that were given by the Roark family. Mr. Roark died 78 years ago this month on October 10, 1943, and was buried at Evergreen Cemetery in Greenville. However, his legacy continues. Not only is the hospital still standing and in use on the same land he gave for that purpose, Mr. Roark still has living relatives, even some that still live here in Greenville. His building at 115 North Main Street now houses Sip and Spin Coffee and Record Shop, and they're keeping his memory alive with their decor and even the facade of their business, which has been designed to partially recreate the same look the building had in Mr. Roark's day. At Thistle Cottage, we were recently gifted a collection of antique books that belong to Mr. Roark and some of his other family members, and those have been added to our exhibit collection. We also have a copy of the J.L. Roark Estate funeral records, as well as a few original copies of the 1923 Greenville Business Directory printed by the Record Press, some issues of the newspaper itself in microfilm and digital formats, and a large collection of photos and other information about the Roark family. Mr. Roark served his community well in a variety of ways for many years, and his contributions deserve to be recognized and remembered. Hopefully today's video helps with that in some small way. That's all I have for this morning's video profile of Mr. Roark. Thank you all for joining me today to recognize another of our county's many significant historical figures. If you'd like to learn about more of those important figures throughout our county's history, or any other history-related topic, feel free to call us at Thistle Cottage. We're not quite ready yet, but we're hoping, fingers crossed, to be able to open for in-person visits soon so you can all stop by and see the items we've discussed in this and our earlier videos. But in the meantime, we are providing research assistance and fulfilling information requests by phone and email. And of course, you can also check out our historical marker scavenger hunt. That event begins next week. You can pick up a list of official historical markers at either the Greenville or Central City Library branch starting November 1st. Then just visit as many of our county's 15 historical markers as you can in the next 2 weeks and send us proof of your visits by November 15th to qualify for prizes. Our county's historical markers cover a lot of really interesting topics, so we hope you'll enjoy that event. And with that, I'm off to finish getting everything ready for that hunt, so it'll all be ready for you on Monday. Thanks again for joining me this morning, everyone. Have a great week.